The next characteristic trait that we are going to discuss is homeostasis. Homeostasis is one of the distinct feature that is present in living forms. What does this word homeostasis means? It means maintaining internal conditions under adverse environmental conditions, for example, say high temperature or low temperature or moisture. So homeostasis helps the organism to survive. Means maintaining internal conditions despite of the environmental conditions that are prevalent. So homeostasis is one of the basic need for living organisms to survive. When I talk about the word survive, another characteristic trait comes to my mind, that is adaptations. What are adaptations? We observe many changes within ourselves. These changes can be short term or these changes can be long term. So we have classified adaptations, those changes, into two: short term adaptations and long term adaptations. As the name suggests, what are the short term adaptations? Short term adaptations are temporary adaptations. Means after a short period of time they are lost. And long term adaptations are permanent adaptations. Means they continue to be there in the generations to come so far, because they are passed from one generation to another, then to the next, and then to the next. So for example, if I talk about short term generations, when you go in the sun, when you stay outside in the sun for a longer time, there is development of a pigment called melanin on the skin layers of your face or your body parts. So that melanin generation is actually protecting you from the harmful UV rays of the sun. But that adaptation, that generation of melanin pigment on your skin is an example of short term adaptation, because it is temporary. It is not going to be passed from one generation to another. So they are acquired traits. They are acquired because we acquire them due to the present condition from the environment, right? But long term adaptations are permanent adaptations. For example, if you talk about birds, the claws of birds, woodpecker has clinging claws. So this is a long term adaptation, and this characteristic trait is going to pass from one generation to another generation. That is why these long term adaptations are also called heritable adaptations. Why? Because I told you that these adaptations are passed from one generation to another generation. Now if we talk about survival advantage, short term variations also give survival advantage, because if we are not going to adapt to the present environmental conditions, we will not be able to survive, right? But the long term adaptations, if are not adapted by the organisms, fossil records have shown that the organisms go extinct. So which has more impact? The long term adaptations obviously have more impact, but we cannot ignore the short term adaptations that are there in the organisms as well.